All right, so this is paint day part 3. So the first day of painting, I got the sealer on. The second day of painting, I started with the color. I was working on the interior. I had a kind of a big accident where I spilled a cup of paint all over the floor of the car. And accidents happen. Luckily, it's just on the floor of the car, which is gonna get covered up anyways, so no one will ever see that mistake. And I learned a big lesson. And so today I'm back at it, and hopefully I'll get the rest of the color on the entire car. That's my plan anyways. I don't think I'll get to the clear coat today, but as everything, it takes longer than you expect. And I'm gonna try and take my time and do it right this time. I'm gonna try and be focusing on more on the details and not hurrying just to get it done. So with any luck, things will go well, and I'm gonna get to it and just spend the day painting. See you inside there. Okay, so I think I may be done with the interior. At least I've covered everything, and I'm gonna do a little inspection now just to see that it's covered adequately, but I'm getting ready to move on to painting the exterior. So I just want to take a look for any missed spots. It's a lot easier to see after it's dried for a few minutes where I need to hit again. Just a few spots, hopefully not too much paint, but I'll just run through it with the spray gun once again, just hit some of the little areas where it's a little bit light on the inside of these beams here. Here, there's a little bit of area where I could get a little bit closer. Yeah, only the areas where you're gonna see it once the interior is put back in with all the carpeting and trim and all that. Yeah, it stinks in here. I'm gonna go put the gear back on, put back my respirator, and then start to move on to the exterior. It's a big deal. Okay. Well, that is, I think, done. At least with the color. I still have to do the clear coat. So last time I got a good layer of paint on there, and it is pretty much ready for the clear coat, except I got a couple of drips. You can see a little bit of a spot there, and then there's a little drip there, a little drip line there. And so I'm gonna try and smooth those out, and I'll touch it up with a little bit of paint if I need to. And then I'm gonna get to clear coating everything. I'll take a look around to see if I see any other drips. Okay, so what I'm doing is taking a nice fresh razor blade and then just very carefully holding it at a flat angle to the panel and just very lightly scraping across the drip so that I just take off the high points of the paint. And with any luck, I can just smooth out the whole drip. I'm really not putting any pressure on it. Just dragging that straight edge across it. And just picking up a little bit of paint each time, just from the high points. Once that feels really smooth, then I'll go in with just a really light sanding with 1000 grit sandpaper and blend it all in. Then I'll mix up a little batch of paint. But so far I'm actually really impressed on how well this is working. It really seems to just be taking off the drip. I could just sand this and it would come out, but I think it would take a lot of sanding, very careful sanding to really get it blended in. And this way I get almost all of the dripped paint off before I have to sand. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of wet sanding, so I'm just going to give a little bit of spray of water. Yeah, that's working really nice. And I think there's a good chance you won't ever be able to tell there was a drip there. Well, maybe the experts can notice, but I'm not going to feel too bad about it. Much smoother. There's still discoloration from the drip, but it feels smooth. And I think with just a quick spray of paint over that, it's going to completely disappear. All right, I'm pretty psyched about getting the second coat of clear coat on there, and I'm just gonna let it cure for a couple days. I've got the decals coming with the stripes, and I'll get putting those on in the next week, and then another little coat of clear coat over those, and the body of the car is done. And all the work up to this point on the car itself has been leading to this apex moment. And now that the car is painted and the body is all complete, it's just about assembling all the parts, putting it back together, and building a car again. So thanks for coming along the journey this far. All of that, I think, was really the hard part. And hopefully now it's going to be a little bit downhill, a little bit cruising, getting stuff together, making things work. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm really happy about getting the paint done. It's a huge deal. See you next time.